Good evening. Can I just say...
Tu sais, je suis allée me faire tirer les cartes. Que je vais avoir beaucoup d'argent et qu'on n'aura plus de soucis à se faire. Elle dit aussi que j'avais plein de femmes dans mon jeu. La première perception que j'ai de moi comme ça, c'est que c'était quelque chose de très très évanescent. Que j'avais pas de visage, ou que j'avais pas de contour, et que j'étais rien en fait. Alors peut-être que c'est comme ça qu'on devient un acteur.
She slices her own with a in a bathtub. She watches strangers having sex in their cars at a drive-in cinema. She writes a letter to her young lover requesting to be bound, gagged and beaten. And then she stands up straight, walks into the Cannes Film Festival, and collects the Best Actress prize. Twice. This is a woman who has been called the greatest actress alive, and also a woman half of America has never heard of. Her name is Isabelle Huppert. She is 5'2". She has the posture of a lit match. And for over 50 years, she has been doing the thing most actresses are told will end their careers. She says yes to everything that frightens you. If you only have 30 seconds, here's the bottom line of this video. Isabelle Huppert became the face of cool girl art house cinema, not by being beautiful, though she is, not by being French, though that helps, but by understanding something most people never figure out, that real power is in what you don't show. She turned sexual discomfort into a whole genre. She made being unknowable the sexiest thing a woman can be. But if you'd like a bit more of an explanation, follow me. Welcome. I'm Kira, and this is your beauty blueprint. I've spent an entire week researching, watching, and editing all things Isabelle Huppert to bring you her very essence and share the best of what I found. And let me tell you, going down the Isabelle Huppert rabbit hole is not for the faint of heart. This is a woman with over 150 films, a record-breaking 17 César nominations, 2 Cannes Best Actress wins, a Golden Globe, an Oscar nomination, and roles that include a self-made piano teacher, a woman guillotined for performing abortions in wartime France, a homicidal postal worker, a mother sleeping with her own son, and a rape victim who orders takeout sushi right after the attack. She is 72 years old. She is Balenciaga's first brand ambassador, and she is right now touring the world playing a vampire countess who bathes in blood. So, what are the ingredients to this woman's completely singular, unrepeatable presence? How does someone this small command every single frame she enters? Why does she make transgression look like elegance? And what on earth can the rest of us actually learn from her? And stick around, because by the end of this video, I'll even serve us a quick breakdown of what we can learn, very, very practically speaking, from Isabelle Huppert's unique style universe. Also, before we go any further, I designed an Isabelle-inspired t-shirt just for this video's launch. It's chic, it's a little unhinged, and it's very much in the spirit of everything we're about to discuss. Meanwhile, we have gathered quite a range there, so please do check that out. They are super soft, shipped to and fro all over our little globe. And I thank everyone who ever got one, and especially whoever reported back on it. It is not only a great way of supporting this channel, but also means the world to me, to be able to be a part of your beauty journey. Now, settle in. Pour yourself a glass of rosé champagne. That's what Isabelle orders first at lunch. Always. And let's start with understanding who this woman actually is, and how a safe manufacturer's daughter from the suburbs of Paris became the most dangerous actress in cinema history. Here's a little backstory. Isabelle Anne Madeleine Huppert was born on March 16, 1953, in Paris, the youngest of 5 children. She grew up in Ville d'Avray, a leafy, affluent suburb west of the city, the kind of place where nothing scandalous happens and everything is well maintained. Her father, Raymond, manufactured safes for a living. He came from a Jewish family with roots scattered across Alsace-Lorraine, Slovakia, and Hungary. During the Nazi occupation, Raymond hid in North Africa. His own mother was interned at the Drancy transit camp. Isabelle's mother, Annick, was a Catholic English teacher. Quiet, intellectual, the household was bilingual in more ways than one, French and English spoken, Jewish and Catholic traditions observed, the past and the future always in tension. Here's a detail I love. Isabelle's maternal great-great-grandmother was one of the 4 Callot sisters, the founders of Callot Soeurs, one of the most important Parisian couture houses of the early 20th century. Fashion, it turns out, is literally in her blood. Her 4 older siblings all went into creative fields: a screenwriter, a director, an academic, a novelist. At 13, Isabelle announced she would be an actress, and so by 15 she was enrolled at the Conservatoire in Versailles, where she won first prize. She studied Russian at university. She earned a degree. She shared an apartment in her early 20s with Isabelle Adjani and the late actress Christine Pascal. Oh, just imagine being a fly on that wall. Her screen debut came in 1971 in a television film called Le Prussien, when she was barely 18. By 21, she had appeared in over 15 films, including a small role alongside Romy Schneider in César et Rosalie, and a memorable turn in Bertrand Blaire's provocative Les Valseuses, a film that shocked France and introduced a new kind of sexual frankness to cinema. But the real arrival came in 1977 with The Lacemaker, Claude Goretta's devastating portrait of a shy hairdresser destroyed by class difference. Isabelle played Pomme, sweet, withdrawn, fragile, heartbreaking. Roger Ebert wrote that she was extraordinary at the very difficult task of projecting the inner feelings of a character whose whole personality is based on concealing feeling. She won a BAFTA for Most Promising Newcomer. And then she did something very smart. She never played anyone sweet or fragile again. From the very beginning, she has said the only place she could take was the main place, the lead, the center of gravity. She has acknowledged this seemed feminist, though she frames it in a very Hopper way, not as a political statement, but merely as a selfish one. 1 year later, at just 25, she won her first Cannes Best Actress prize for Violette Nozière, a Chabrol film based on the true story of an 18-year-old Parisian girl who poisons her parents. And just like that, the Isabelle Huppert blueprint was set. Take the role everyone else wouldn't. Find the woman no one wants to look at. Then make it impossible to look away from her. In 1980, she did 3 films in rapid succession that would define any other actress's entire career: Heaven's Gate by Cimino, Lulu by Pialet, Every Man for Himself by Jean-Luc Godard. She fell in love with filmmaker Ronald Chammah around this time. They have 3 children: Lolita, who became an actress and has appeared in several films with her mother; Lorenzo, who curates the repertory cinema Christine 21 in Paris, which Isabelle owns; and Angelo. She also owns 2 theaters, by the way. She once said something I keep thinking about, that playing roles and having children are similar things. In both cases, something is always taking place in your core. I think it's fascinating to think of a woman like her, with all her gravitas, as a mother, which is an unbelievably humbling experience, one I am still yet to feel ready for. What do you think about this? Well, then came the 80s and 90s, a streak of collaborations with Claude Chabrol that were like a masterclass in female darkness. Story of Women in 1988, where she played a real woman guillotined in Vichy France for performing abortions, won her Venice Prize. Madame Bovary in 1991, Chabrol's Faithful Flaubert, with Isabelle embodying what Roger Ebert called a type of greatness that could never flourish in Hollywood, because her greatness was in her secrets, not her surfaces. Then, La Cérémonie in 1995, a class warfare thriller, where she played a manic, darkly funny postmistress who goads an illiterate maid toward mass murder. Chabrol called it the last Marxist film. She won both a César and a Venice Prize. Quick pause. If you're still with me, and I hope you are, because we're about to get to The Piano Teacher, please do me a little favor and hit the like button. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's your moment. We do this every week, at least one woman, one blueprint, one deep submersion into what makes her tick. Okay, now let's get into it. The Piano Teacher, 2001, directed by Michael Haneke. This is the film. Isabelle plays Erika Kohut, a piano professor at a prestigious Vienna conservatory who lives with her overbearing mother. They share a small apartment, sleep in twin beds in the same room. In public, Erika is rigid, exacting, controlled. In private, she visits porn shops alone. She spies on couples having sex. She cuts herself with a razor blade in the bathtub. When a confident young student named Walter begins pursuing her, she writes him a letter, detailed, clinical, outlining her sadomasochistic desires. She wants to be bound, she wants to be hurt. He is repulsed, then he is enraged. The film climaxes with Walter violently raping and beating Erika in her own hallway, giving her exactly what she asked for, but brutally, without tenderness, as pointless punishment. Afterwards, she stabs herself outside a concert hall and walks away, bleeding into the night. Michael Haneke, by the way, had been trying to work with Isabelle for years. He'd offered her Funny Games, a great film, then 2 more projects. She'd declined each time. So with The Piano Teacher, he issued an ultimatum. At a masterclass at the Lumière Festival, Isabelle recalled that she actually read the full script on the plane to Vienna. She landed and went straight to work.
Good evening. Can I just say, after receiving a BAFTA for Most Promising Newcomer in 1978, I really had no idea I'd be back so soon.
On Michael Haneke, she said something revealing. She knew she would be protected, but at some point you are also exposed, and it's important to be exposed. At Cannes, the film won 3 major prizes: the Grand Prix, Best Actor for Benoît Magimel, and Best Actress for Isabelle, her second. In the history of the festival, only 4 women have ever won that prize twice. Haneke himself said, no other actress could combine the extreme of suffering with icy intellectualism the way she does. The New Yorker's David Denby wrote that most of her best acting was barely visible, just a flicker of consciousness around the edges of a mask, and yet she gave a classic account of repression and sexual hypocrisy. The piano teacher crystallized what Isabelle had been building for 30 years, the idea that female desire does not have to be warm or romantic or understandable. It can be cold and specific and even frightening. And if you watch it closely enough, it is also somehow funny. Isabelle herself has said there's comedy in the piano teacher. Not the laugh-out-loud kind, more like something between the lines. If you want to understand why she's probably the most important actress working today, watch that film. Watch her face in the final scene. She gives you nothing. And yet, it's everything. Now, what I really want to talk about, the persona, the thing that no one else has. The reason Isabelle Huppert is not just an actress, but an aesthetic category unto herself. Here's what makes her different. Most actors, even very good ones, want you to understand the character. They want you to feel something specific. They want clarity. Isabelle wants the opposite. She has said she was never really interested in playing a character. She's more interested in situations and states of mind and feelings. She doesn't prepare in any conventional sense. She doesn't carry roles with her. When it's over, it's over. She calls the camera lens a microscope that goes beyond the surface. She describes the women she plays as winning victims. Not winners, but winning victims, which she thinks is closer to reality than playing Amazons or Wonder Woman. This is the woman Susan Sontag called a total artist with unlimited ability. The woman John Waters declared his favorite actress in the world. And the woman the New York Times named the greatest actress of the 21st century. Female power does not require likability. That sexual agency on screen does not have to mean empowerment in the goddamn Instagram sense. That the truly subversive act is to make yourself unknowable, to refuse the audience's desire to categorize you as either victim or hero, and instead insist on being something more complicated, more human, and infinitely more interesting. She once put it this way: the definition of an actress is precisely not to be too sure of what she is, and that uncertainty creates the ability to be anyone. And 15 years after The Piano Teacher, she did it again. Elle, directed by Paul Verhoeven. Yes, the man who made Basic Instinct and Showgirls. Only this time with something real to say. She plays Michelle, a video game company's CEO, who is violently raped in her home by a masked intruder and responds by cleaning up, ordering food, going about her business. She doesn't call the police or collapse. She starts investigating who did it with the cool detachment of someone solving a logistics problem. The film is a tightrope walk of tone, darkly comic, deeply unsettling, occasionally perverse. Multiple Hollywood actresses reportedly refused the role outright. Paul Verhoeven couldn't get it made in English because nobody in America would play a woman whose response to rape didn't fit a modern woke template. Isabelle Huppert stepped in and made the character entirely her own. She called it a post-feminist character who builds her own behavior, not a victim, nor a revenge fantasy, but something genuinely new. The film earned her a Golden Globe, her second César, and her first Oscar nomination at age 63, but she lost to Emma Stone for La La Land. And honestly, nobody who has seen both performances agrees with the Academy on that one. What Elle and The Piano Teacher share, and what separates Huppert from virtually every other actress working, is a refusal to let female sexuality be comfortable. She doesn't soften the edges. She doesn't give you a redemption arc to hold on to. She trusts that the audience can handle ambiguity, and if they can't, that's their problem. When people kept asking about the controversy around the film, she responded with perfect Isabelle Huppert cool. People keep telling me about the controversy, but there was no real controversy. You can't please everybody, can you? During the Me Too movement, she navigated the moment with characteristic independence. She wore black at the Golden Globes in solidarity with Time's Up, but she did not sign Catherine Deneuve's controversial Le Monde letter defending the right to be hit on. Her position was precise and undramatic. Different opinions in France don't mean a lack of solidarity with the movement, but all voices should be heard without overzealousness on either side. That's Isabelle in a nutshell. She refuses to be drafted into anyone's army. I love that. And here's the thing that really gets me right now, as I'm making this video. She's touring a one-woman show called Mary Said What She Said, directed by the late Robert Wilson, where she plays Mary Queen of Scots on the eve of her execution. 90 minutes. Her alone on stage in a black sequined gown with a white ruffle collar, under Wilson's stark lighting. She also just premiered a film where she plays the Blood Countess, the Hungarian noblewoman who bathed in virgin's blood to stay young. When an interviewer asked Isabelle about the blood drinking scenes, she said, "I was very hungry. Yes, very thirsty." Now, a quick reminder, if you're loving this deep dive and want even more behind-the-scenes content like this, consider becoming a channel member, or better yet, a Patreon. Members get access to exclusive podcast episodes, and to our existing members, thank you. You make this possible. I'm truly grateful for you. Alright, and now, let me get to what I promised you, the beauty and style breakdown. What can we actually take away from Isabelle? First, the physical beauty blueprint. She is 5'2" with distinctive red auburn hair, porcelain pale skin, and large, watchful brown eyes. She even looks intelligent. She projects what one observer called a sculpted patrician beauty, but it's a beauty that feels earned rather than given, composed rather than accidental. She has never chased trends. She has never changed her hair color to suit a decade. She has said that beauty cannot be disconnected from emotion. It's not about perfection. There has to be something behind it. Think about that for a second. She's telling us that pure prettiness is a dead end. What makes a face interesting is the life behind it. She once admitted something so refreshingly honest, I wrote it down. She said that one day during a photo shoot, she felt herself to be gorgeous, and the next day she looked in the mirror and didn't feel beautiful at all. And she didn't panic about it. Of course, she called it the power of illusions. She said she can be beautiful if she wants to be, but a part of beauty must be fabricated. That's not insecurity talking, that's mastery. We must construct ourselves deliberately to understand beauty as a practice and a choice rather than a fixed condition. You either have or you don't. On aging, and this is where she really delivers. She has said that she doesn't feel old, and that asking women what they think about aging is a fundamentally negative question. It's someone else's problem, not hers. Done. Conversation over. Next question. I want that energy in me, too. Her reported beauty essentials are minimal and very French. Elizabeth Arden 8-Hour Cream. She considers it a must-have, which is interesting because it's not some obscure luxury product. It's a drugstore classic that costs less than a good cocktail. Christophe-Nicolas Biot shampoo for her red hair, and Robert Piguet's Fracas perfume, heavy on tuberose, white floral, and a little dangerous. A touch of Guerlain terracotta bronzing powder. Funny enough, that's the one my mom always used. A sizzly lip pencil in natural beige. That's essentially it. She once showed up at Cannes, practically makeup-free with a temporary literary tattoo, quoting a Romanian philosopher on her body. The message is clear. Intellect is the best accessory. Your reading list is your best beauty routine. Her style is equally distilled. Grazia documented that she has been wearing essentially the same thing, a simple, perfectly tailored black suit on red carpets for over 20 years. Always designer, though. Always impeccable. And always worn, as one writer put it, with the indifference of someone who threw any old thing on. In 2023, Balenciaga named her their first ever brand ambassador, at age 70. At Cannes, she wore those famous nude Balenciaga heels, molded to look like mannequin toes, an elegant middle finger to the festival's notorious high-heel dress code. So what can you actually do with all of this? Here are the practical takeaways from the Isabelle Huppert blueprint, the things you can walk away with today. 1. Invest in one perfect silhouette and repeat it. For her, it's the suit. For you, it might be anything else. The point is, find the shape that makes your body feel right, and then commit to it so it becomes your signature. People will remember you for the repetition, not the variety. 2. Less makeup, more intention. Her face is her instrument, and she treats it that way. She doesn't hide behind layers of product. If you take one thing from her beauty approach, let it be this. Highlight what's interesting about your face, not what's conventional. If your lips are thin, don't overdraw them. Let them suggest rather than pout. The Isabelle Huppert method is restraint in service of impact. 3. Never apologize for your contradictions. Isabelle is simultaneously intellectual and visceral. She is tiny and terrifying. That tension between opposites is the whole point. If people can't figure you out, you're doing it right. 4. Opacity is power. You don't owe anyone full access to your inner life. The most magnetic people in any room are the ones who leave you wanting to know more. Isabelle has been with the same man for over 40 years, and we know almost nothing about their relationship. She answers personal questions with elegant yet witty deflections. Apply that philosophy. A little mystery goes a long way. 5. Treat beauty as an act of construction, not a condition. Isabelle herself said it. She can be beautiful when she wants to be. That's not vanity, that's agency. It means you get to decide. Every morning you wake up and choose how much of yourself to reveal, how much effort to invest, what version of yourself to present. Some days you show up barefaced and devastating. Some days you go full production. The power is in the choosing. Leave me a comment and tell me, have you seen The Piano Teacher before this video? And what other women should I cover? I've queued up the next chapter for you here. I'll see you soon. Love, Kira. Now go create your own blueprint.